Hey guys, Admin Chris here from Anime and Manga 2.0. Alright, as you may have guessed from the description above, this review will be on Gintama. And as you might have guessed, that's my favorite anime. And it's pretty much better than any of your animes, so if you want to fight about it or debate about it, we can talk about it in the comment section below. But I will proceed to tell you why mine is better. Alright, so what we'll be going into is a brief synopsis on the story, which pretty much doesn't matter. Because that's just Gintama, and some reasons why Gintama is amazing. And that's going to story arcs, character development, music, all kinds of things. Alright, so first I'll jump right into it, and with the synopsis. 7 years ago, feudal Japan, 1860, the Yamato, aliens from outer space, the Yamato, are invading feudal Japan. And in their wake, they bring in tons of modern technology, weapons, lasers, guns, all kinds of things, and attack feudal Japan. And back in feudal Japan, the only thing that they could defend with were samurai swords. So it was a samurai versus, futuristic technology, crazy guys with lasers. And as you can probably guess, the samurai lost. But they put up a valiant fight, and one of the valiant fighters that were back then was a man named Gintoki Sakata, otherwise known as the White Shot Yaksha, or the White Demon. Alright? So, like I said, the samurai lost. 7 years in the future, Gintoki Sakata, after disappearing off the battlefield for 7 years, is living in a restaurant, above a restaurant, and he runs his own business. He is a Yorizoro, which is an odd jobs type of guy, which means he takes in jobs from different places in town, and does little odd things for money, and that's how he survives. At this point in time, Gintoki is no longer the White Yaksha anymore. He no longer has that demon personality. Right now, he is just a guy, and he's a guy who doesn't give really any shits about anything. He does things his way, he does things on his time, and does things when he wants, and that's including paying rent or doing the job he was hired to do. He does things on his time. One day, he goes through his troubles, and he's going through his daily, and he meets a girl named Kagura, and a guy named Shinpachi Shimura. And these two young fellas are his new colleagues that he works with, that he does odd jobs with too. Kagura is an alien from outer space, another Amanto, and Shinpachi is a pupil samurai to be. But under the new laws, since the aliens took over, now forming the new government, samurais are actually prohibited, so you can't actually use swords anymore. But everything I just said, pretty much just throw that out the window, because none of that actually matters. Alright. Before I go along, I just want to tell you guys that Gintama is a very different type of anime. It's not your usual type. And what I mean by that is it's a very long, ongoing anime. 300-something episodes. But at the same time, it's episodic. And that kind of conflicts with each other with a lot of things. And that's what turns people off. There's not really a coherent storyline that brings things together right away. You have to actually watch and keep going in the subtleties in each episode that has to do with absolutely nothing. The show is hilarious, and it's the funniest thing you'll probably ever see, other than a few other shows. So basically, for the first 50 or so episodes, you're just with the gang messing around and doing stupid stuff, and it's episodic, so each episode or each couple episodes are about different stuff, and it's not really coherent about anything, whether they're, attacking a random pirate ship that they feel like attacking, or laying on their backs all day talking about absolutely nothing, or contemplating life and what we know about it, or using penises as brakes for things, and that's just how the show goes, and it's pretty much how Gintama is for a long time. It's supposed to be funny, it's supposed to be entertaining, and that's what Gintama is entertainment. Other than that, though, you have a lot of things that make Gintama awesome, but, like I said, it takes a long time for people to actually get into it. So, once you get past the first 50 or so episodes, you'll hit its very first serious arc, and that's the Benizakura arc. And in the Benizakura arc, you actually experience what an actual shonen-type anime is supposed to bring you. And that's action, killing, sword fighting, awesome animation. And it's where it really turned Gintama into a comedy. And turned it into a battle shonen. And it only did it for a little bit. Gintoki and his friends actually have their first very serious fight where life and death actually matters. And as different as that sounds, it takes a huge turn and it shocks people because people didn't expect that to happen. And that's what made Gintama amazing. It actually turned it from a fluffy show, like I just said, into something completely different. And it's able to do that in a blink of an eye. This arc only lasted about 7 or so, or 5 or 7 episodes, until it ended abruptly. But it basically let viewers know that this show wasn't just fluffy comedy. It was a very serious show that had very serious story elements to it. And as the show kept going on, it would still do its very same episodes and episodic comedy. But it also let you know every 40 or 30 episodes that a serious arc would just enter into the show and turn the show again from a comedy to an action. And that's the beauty of Gintama. It allows you not to take the show so serious, but let you take it serious enough that you know it's amazing. And for 300 episodes, it basically follows that same formula. Comedy, then serious story arc. And there's about 7 of them, and it just keeps going on and on and on. And that's Gintama for you. Gintama's started in 2006, and it's still continuing. It's with its last season just ending in April of 2016. It's still very prominent and ongoing, and it'll keep going. And over the years, it started from a very crude-drawn anime, so animation-wise, it wasn't the best. It was actually not in the correct format that you have animes in today. It was actually pretty low quality, and not a huge budget for the anime over the years. Very low budget, because it's not a very popular anime, but it gained enough for it to keep going. So the animation quality is alright, and then over time it actually gets very well. And then when they have to do battle arcs, you better believe they put all their damn money into those battle arcs, so it looks absolutely amazing. Every single one. Hand-drawn, each slash you see in each individual swing of each sword, and you know that a fight is going down and it's serious. For the music of the show, I'm a little biased. I mean, personally, I very much enjoyed Gintama's OSTs. I enjoyed them a lot, and as you can hear in the background, it's one of my favorite OSTs from the show. But also, I very much enjoyed the openings and endings of the show, and they kind of, got you pumped up for what it was and what can be. And for each opening that they gave you, they would show you a glimpse of the serious arc that would be in that season somewhere, but you wouldn't know when. So it pumped you up and it got you excited. Character development was also a pretty big thing in the show. Though it is episodic, you still see character progression throughout the show, which is a good thing, because if you didn't, it would still be episodic, even when serious arcs came along. And what I mean by that is during these serious arcs, you would actually see the story progress along with character progression. So something serious would happen, and it would actually evolve and turn these characters into something great, and they would evolve, like I had just said. For example, you have Gintoki Sakata. He was a very prominent figure and very dark character back in the war when he fought against the Amanto originally. But now, 7 years later, you realize that he's a very laid-back type of character. And as the story progresses, you see in each serious arc that comes along his seriousness coming back, and his love and passion for fighting, and his comrades continue to swell up and bring about the emotions. And as the story goes on, you see it more and more, and his character evolves so deeply that you actually understand his pain and why he changed so drastically over the years, which is awesome. Then you have characters like Kagura, who came, well, you don't know, but you will know, who came into the planet and they didn't really have a way of life or weren't actually accustomed to being on Earth. And though her background story isn't too significant, knowing that she's a character who didn't have much and started from nothing, who eventually comes to have a family of her own when it comes to Gintoki and Shinpachi and all of her other friends, they become family to her. She develops a love and care for these characters as she gets closer to them. And though the show is episodic, you see it more and more as the show progresses. So, even though the show is episodic, like I said, character progression is a huge key in the show, and it's not to be downplayed. All in all, the show, to me, was amazing. It was spectacular. And the way that it performed, and the way that it actually engaged and kept you invested in the show, and does what most other long-running shows don't do, which includes including filler into the show. The show doesn't have any of that. It makes you feel like each show you're invested into it separately. Though it may be episodic, you're invested into it. It's a different story. It's a different entire situation. And you're just into it. And that's what Gintama is amazing to me for. It allows me to just pick up each episode and be like, wow, I can't get bored of this. It's going to be awesome. And that's why I think you should pick it up. And if I'm going to be talking about a rating more so or less, I'm going to be biased here. And it's, for me, it's excellent. It's on a completely different tier than the other anime. And for me, it's a 10 out of 10. To be seriously speaking, though, in terms of everything put together. And this show includes every single genre of everything imaginable, except for romance, to be specific. But it even includes that, too. All in all, I'm going to have to give it like an 8.5, 9 out of 10. The show's amazing. And if you haven't picked it up yet, haven't watched it, you should, because it is awesome. This is, again, Admin Chris from Anime and Manga 2.0. And I'll catch you again on the flip side. Thanks for watching.